Today, since it's the end of the year, I'm going to kind of give you a review, okay? What did we say fluoride was? Who can remember that? Fluoride is found in what? In water. It is also found in toothpaste, exactly. And if you read the package, it says what? Not to do what? Not to swallow. Remember that fluoride is an industrial waste product, okay? And I also talked to you about aluminum. Where does maize, a lot of aluminum has been found in what kind of disease? Alzheimer's. So avoid using aluminum pans, aluminum pots, aluminum paper. So you can use parchment paper and do things a little bit different because we got to take care of our brains. Okay? We also talked about it that you find it in deodorant, a lot of aluminum. And so the other thing that is really important that you can start using, like baking soda, or you can even use a slice of lemon, use it as a deodorant, and it will work well. Soap and water in between. The one thing that I had talked at the beginning also was about forgiveness. Why is forgiveness important in getting rid of anger in our lives? It says, if you forgive me as I forgive others, and that's in our Father. Anger, hate, resentment, whatever causes disease and it dwells into our bodies, we end up with physical as well as emotional. And that which is bound on earth is bound in heaven. So our healing begins with each one of us taking responsibility to learn, to heal, to forgive, to resolve whatever issues. And at the end of the year is the most perfect time to really send a note or make a call to somebody and make peace with others. But the hardest thing for me sometimes is to make peace with myself. I also talked to you about genetically modified foods. Why are those bad? Pesticides, well, that's pesticides too. But remember, anything that has been genetically modified is not the way that God made them. So it's not something that our bodies can readily use. So try to go as much as to what God created and not genetically modified. And I gave you a list of how you can figure out what is genetically modified or not on the labels. Really important. You have to realize that the building blocks for all your DNA, which is inside every cell in your body, has little units that connect, and you have to get those through the food that you eat in order for your body to heal and to maintain. If you don't bring them into your body, then we become sick, okay? Uh, the other thing, I encourage you to eat a lot of greens. How big of a salad a day do you need to eat? That's right. And make sure as much as possible it is no pesticides in your foods, okay? Because a lot of the pesticides accumulates inside our bodies, especially our fat cells. And that makes us very, very sick. So a lot of these green vegetables, kale, whatever else you eat, parsley, cilantro, they all have beneficial elements like cilantro and parsley actually will bind with metal in your body and help excrete it out, okay? So very, very important. And for a lot of people, sometimes they can't eat greens and stuff, so you can always steam them or you can always make a smoothie and get it down, because sometimes sitting down and eating a green salad takes too long for me, okay? Uh, and we talked about pesticides. The other thing, if you have probably heard on the news, that a lot of the bees are dying, okay? And that's a lot due to the pesticides. A lot of our flowers have been genetically modified, so they all now have pesticides, germicides inside the plants. So actually when the bees or the butterflies or whatever insects come to the plant, they're actually poisoned and they die. So check when you buy plants to make sure they're not genetically modified and that they're good for our environment, they're good for our sight as well. And remember, that a lot of the plants, we can eat them and actually become food for ourselves. Munoz has been really bad in doing a lot of things, and they make lots and lots of money on pesticides everywhere throughout the world. Okay? And so remember, whatever you eat becomes into your body. And we talked about mixing half water, half vinegar. You can spray your vegetables to clean them, to make sure to remove as much of the pesticide, or you can mix baking soda and water, soak your vegetables in there and eat them, or you can do it before you put them in the refrigerator or just before you want to eat, okay? And many potatoes are also sprayed with pesticides to prevent them from budding and and going bad. So be very careful. We talked about inflammation. Can somebody tell me what concentrated corn syrup is? Exactly, it's a poison. So the more sugar you have, whenever you buy anything, look to make sure that it doesn't say concentrated corn syrup. That is basically poison to your body. Yes, sir? High fructose corn syrup. Okay, but it's all the same. The more sugar you have into your body, the more inflammation you have, the more pain you have. Your body does not heal. So if you're sick, the worst thing for you to eat is a donut, it's eat cookies, or any of that sort of stuff. Okay? Get to your fruits, to your broths, and everything else. Okay? And avoid as much as possible the processed foods. Remember, the further away the food that you eat away from what God created, yes.
What about sugar-free items?
Be even just as careful about those. I know that like stevia is a plant, and all that basically is grounded up and stuff. That's good. But sweet and low, some of those are poison.
Cookies and all that.
It's even worse.
Peanut butter, sugar-free.
It's even worse. You might as well eat the real ones. I'll tell you that. Okay? The one other important thing is to realize that what we eat, we become. It becomes us. So very, very careful. You and I have control what the store sells by your pocketbook. So if you stop buying certain things and it just stays there, then the stores will stop buying it, okay? We also talked about your thyroid. Where is your thyroid? Okay, and that's an organ that produces a lot of, it helps with your metabolism, it affects everything else. Your calcium, there's a little gland right next to it that affects it as well. And we talked about what foods to eat to encourage your thyroid function and the importance of iodine. And in there, I talked to you about not eating the salt that has the little girl with a little pail and the rain and the umbrella that has iodine, that is not a good salt. So for you to eat the Himalayan salt, eat the sea salt, because it has those little minerals that help connect those vital important parts in each of your DNA in each cell of your body. Very, very important, okay? We also, most of it, we talked about the 8 laws of health. And I think as a Seventh-day Adventist or being involved in church, we have heard them all along. We know that when we break 1 or 2 of those laws, we end up with having health problems. So it's really important to go back and recheck and do all of those, because if we don't take care of ourselves now, we end up paying later. We are miserable. We make ourselves miserable. We make our families miserable. If I had known the knowledge I have today 50 years ago, I would have saved thousands and thousands of dollars and a lot of misery. Okay? And in 2 Corinthians 6:19 it says, "Do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit? So each one of us is responsible for our bodies, what we intake, what we do to our body." And we have to remember that Jesus was tempted by food. Wherein was he tempted by food? Exactly, and that's in Luke. So one of the biggest problems I find for myself is the temptation of what I want to put in my mouth. I see cakes, I see ice creams, I see these yummy stuff, and especially now during the holidays, some of the desserts are absolutely beautiful. So the temptation is there, but like I said, watch what you're doing. We also spoke about cancer and the importance of changing your diet. Like I said, it's very important to realize that if you have fungus or mold in your house, therefore, more than likely, you have it in your body. So there, I gave you a whole list of different symptoms to watch for, because that is what I told you last time. That is what I have. And it's a battle that I've been fighting for years. So this year, with the help of Dr. Segarra, I'm getting on a more strict diet to get rid of the mold in my body. And now for 2 weeks, my headaches have decreased. I'm finally able to sleep the last 3 days because the headaches have, like I said, they've diminished a lot. Okay? And I encouraged you to read, to connect with Doug Kaufman, and his program is called Known the Cause. And he has made the connection that a lot of people have cancer and it's related to the fungus, it's related to the mold. So check your foods, check your homes, make sure you clean, you dust, and you vacuum your homes really well, and your clothes as well. And if you're not sure that you have that, I think in some of the hardware stores you can actually get little Petri dishes, and you can put them in various places in your house. And if the stuff grows, then you know you have it. Make sure that the fans in your bathroom, especially if you put the fan on when you're showering and there's lots of moisture in your bathrooms, check to make sure that it's clean, the mold is removed, so you are not breathing that, because it goes to your lungs, okay? And remember, the soul becomes dyed with the colors of your thoughts, okay? The soul becomes dyed with the colors of your thoughts. So if you want to be healthy and you want to share with others, make your thoughts much better, be a positive person, because God has given us so many promises in His Word, and I'm grateful for Ellen G. White explaining a lot of things much better to